indicted in 2 Austin area murders.
District Representative Jeannie Morrison weighs in on the border crisis and school safety with 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel.
Plus, a video from Houston goes viral after a bus aide is seen repeatedly beating a student.
Well, good evening, everyone. The weekend is here. Get a load of this. It got up to 103 today. You probably felt it. But 107 in Gonzales. We'll talk about the heat and the fire danger coming up in a moment.
And a Power 5 athlete is being recognized for a special honor. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia. A grand jury indicts suspected serial killer Raul Meza Jr. in 2 Austin area murders. KVUE reports 62-year-old Meza indicted in the 2019 death of his neighbor Gloria Lofton and this year's death of Jesse Fraga. He was previously convicted of the murder of 8-year-old Kendra Page in 1982, and authorities say there are 10 cold cases that could be linked to him. Records show he is now being held on a $1 million bond. Meza faces capital murder and murder charges in Gloria Lofton's case and 2 indictments in the case of Jesse Fraga.
With the construction of a new Dollar General on Ben Jordan, some longtime residents and homeowners have concerns of potential flooding issues. Glenn Charles has lived in his home on Ben Jordan Street for over 40 years, and with the construction of a new Dollar General behind his home, he's worried that the way it's been built will obstruct the flow of water in the field behind his home, which will lead to runoff water to flood his backyard. We have heard back from Dollar General's Public Relations Department, and they said they will address these concerns with their developer and have them contact Glenn. District 30 State Representative Jeannie Morrison serving her 12th term in the Texas legislature. Representative Morrison stopped by our studio today.
25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel joins us now in studio with more.
That's right, Don and Karina. So Representative Morrison says that after a few special sessions this year, more work awaits. The special session is expected to begin sometime in October, called by Governor Abbott to address and work on and to pass a school choice program. That would make public funds available to parents to help pay for private school tuition. Representative Morrison says she supports the idea of school choice, but doesn't want to see money taken away from public schools, but rather give parents and students options for what best suits them regarding their education. We also asked Representative Morrison about the controversial buoys at the border.
Border security is the federal government's responsibility, not the state's responsibility. The federal government has not done anything. And so Texas has been putting money into border security for numerous legislative sessions. This last session we put in over $3 billion. The hard thing for me is it's a very difficult issue because you do have people that are trying to escape from a country that they're being oppressed from. They don't have things for their children, but they're told things by the cartel of how they can come and they'll be taken care of and it's free, and then the cartels take money from them, and then the journeys of sometimes waiting for months and get to Mexico, and then they're robbed of their money, things are happening to them. It's just a very sad situation because they're looking for some place that's good for them. But also, the United States cannot take all of those that are coming over because, we have a responsibility for health care and for school and all of that. And so it's a big burden, but it's a very difficult emotional issue.
Mexico's president has condemned the buoys, calling the border enforcement tactic on the Rio Grande River, quote, inhumane, after bodies were found in the waters that flow along the U.S.-Mexico border. The Department of Justice has sued the state of Texas and Governor Abbott over the buoys in the Rio Grande. Those are part of Abbott's major border policy, Operation Lone Star. Don, Karina, back to you.
Adam, thank you. ERCOT has extended a weather watch for a second straight week. ERCOT extended the weather watch through next Friday, August 18th. The extension due to 100-plus degree high temperatures, higher electrical demand, and the potential for lower reserves. ERCOT says power grid conditions are expected to be normal during a weather watch, and ERCOT also said a new power usage one-day record was set yesterday at over 85,000 megawatts, and it was almost broken today, I noticed, a little over 85,000.
It's just going to keep on breaking that record.
If we can get these triple-digit temperatures every day, and here's the man who would know. Let's take a first look at your forecast. First Warning Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis is here.
Thank you very much. And, you know, the issue is, I don't know that we have 90 megawatts of capacity, so we're out there in the 95, 98% usage, and therefore it becomes incumbent upon you and me not to use as much electricity so that the whole state can survive. And you're going, well, what about me and what about those guys? And well, everybody needs to participate. Your temperature right now at this hour of the night, 86 degrees. Yes, we got up into the triple digits again, 103, quite unbelievable. Your all-time record for Victoria is 111, but I don't want to go there either. We'll talk more about what to expect for the next few days coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. The National Weather Service issues excessive heat warnings for 2 area counties, DeWitt and Lavaca counties, under excessive heat warnings from noon until 9 o'clock Saturday night. The National Weather Service says index values up to 113 degrees are expected.
Well, it's not known what led a bus aide to assault a 17-year-old student on a school bus in suburban Houston.
Authorities are investigating, and that aide is no longer employed.
Oh, yeah. This is the ultra-violent video that has gone viral on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and other social media and has been shared more than 168 times. The video showing a Conroe ISD bus aide beating a 17-year-old Conroe High School student in the head and knocking him to the ground. All the while aboard that school bus, other students were watching. Students at the school like Alexa Perez and Evelyn Segura, both seniors, say they were stunned when they saw this video play out on social media.
I was honestly shocked. I never expected I would see someone, who's supposed to be a role model and a leader in our school, like a staff member. I wouldn't never think that they would put their hands on a kid.
I was really, really surprised. I didn't think any teacher would ever do that, honestly.
This horrifying scene playing out yesterday afternoon, according to sources. And at this point, that Conroe ISD employee has been fired and is being investigated by both the Conroe ISD Police Department and the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office. Conroe ISD has released this official statement. It reads, yesterday afternoon we were made aware of an incident in which an employee in our transportation department physically attacked a student on a bus. We are disturbed by this unacceptable behavior, which is not representative of our hundreds of hardworking transportation staff. The individual is no longer employed by the district, and the Conroe ISD Police Department is completing their investigation with the expectation of pursuing criminal charges.
A trash fire at a recycling center in northwest Houston soon spread to work equipment on the grounds, prompting the city's fire department to upgrade its response to 3 alarms. The fire department said it received a call before 5 p.m. in the 9,500 block of Clay Road near Campbell, which is the site of a recycling center belonging to Waste Management. 1 person was treated at the scene.
The federal judge overseeing Donald Trump's election interference case has partially ruled on special counsel Jack Smith's proposed protective orders seeking to limit what Trump and his lawyers can share publicly.
Her ruling has cautioned Trump against using inflammatory statements.
In her first hearing in Donald Trump's criminal case involving his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election, federal judge Tanya Chutkan made clear her feelings regarding the terms of conflicting protective order proposals submitted by special counsel Jack Smith and Trump's legal team. Judge Chutkan ruling in favor of the proposal put forward by Trump's attorneys, that the protective order be limited to materials that the government deems sensitive. The judge then proceeded to deny several proposals put forward by Trump's team that that would have narrowed the scope of what Smith could argue was sensitive evidence, ruling that Trump will be restricted from discussing publicly all recordings, transcripts, interview reports, and related exhibits shared by the special counsel, claiming those details created too great a risk that witnesses could be intimidated. The judge saying, quote, "You start releasing snippets of witness interview transcripts, what do you think is going to happen to those witnesses?" She added there are conditions for Trump's release on bail, and he will face the same restrictions as any other criminal defendant were he to violate them. Chutkan also ruled Trump can review discovery materials without a member of his legal team present, but he cannot have any electronic devices present at the time. Judge Chutkan wrapping up the hearing, offering a stern warning to Trump and his team. The more a party makes inflammatory statements about this case, which could taint the jury pool or intimidate potential witnesses, the greater the urgency will be that we proceed to trial.
All the statements that needed to be made were made on the record.
Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
Monday and Tuesday, Ben Wilson Street will close between Airline Road and Red River Street so that crews can begin erecting a clock tower at UHV. All businesses and homes in the construction zone will remain accessible. The construction, part of the $7.2 million Ben Wilson Street Airline Road to U.S. Highway Business 59 project.
The Loop 463 bridge widening project will continue with nightly road closures on Zacklands Parkway from U.S. Highway Business 59 to Lone Tree Road. The closures start next Monday night at 7 o'clock and will run through next Tuesday morning at 5.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, 3 people died in an overnight house fire in North Carolina.
Also ahead, the devastation in Maui continues with the wildfires leaving at least 55 people dead. Here's what to catch on Community Crossroads this weekend. We first sit down with the City of Victoria to discuss a child safety program, followed by Keep Victoria Beautiful, and we also sit down with an American Idol producer, plus a studio performance from Nathan Colt Young.
Remember the nights we were together. I thought our love
were killed in an overnight house in Kill Devil's Hill, North Carolina. 3 others were also hurt in the blaze. Authorities say the fire broke out at around 2:25 this morning. Fire crews apparently found the home fully engulfed as they tried to fight the flames. They were able to keep the fire from spreading to a nearby home. However, one house did also suffer some heat damage.
Followers and loved ones gathered at an exhibition center in Ecuador for their last goodbye to Ecuadorian presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio. Authorities say 6 suspects arrested in connection with the crime. Villavicencio, an anti-corruption campaigner and lawmaker who was outspoken about the violence caused by drug trafficking in Ecuador, was shot dead at a campaign rally on Wednesday.
We go to Hawaii, where the wildfires continue to burn, the death toll rising to at least 55.
The fires in Maui now 80% contained, but much of an historic town is destroyed.
Everything's gone. This is terrible.
Heartbreaking images show the aftermath from Hawaii's largest and deadliest wildfire. While dozens have been killed, hundreds more people remain missing. There's no power or internet, making communication difficult. ABC's Whit Johnson made it to historic Lahaina Harbor, a place he's visited many times, but says it is now unrecognizable.
There aren't many buildings left standing. People tell us that it all happened so fast. The flaming embers started raining down from the sky, igniting buildings all around them, and many had just seconds to flee, some even jumping into the harbor, into the ocean, to escape the flames.
The Coast Guard saying they rescued 17 people from the water while the fire was raging Tuesday night, an effort made more difficult by the conditions.
So our crews did encounter those winds and some rough seas as a result of that. And there was smoke.
Mark and Michelle Steffel among those who lost their homes, and they tell me they received no official warning to evacuate until they saw the flames coming for them in Lahaina.
We were lucky that my wife happened to look out the window and see that the fire was coming. We were running for our lives. Wow. No sirens, no warning, no nothing. If we would have been inside with our windows shut and not paying attention, we'd be dead right now.
The couple losing their home for the second time. 5 years ago, their Maui home was destroyed by a wildfire fueled by winds from Hurricane Lane. Hawaii officials telling the Associated Press there are no emergency management records indicating Maui's warning sirens were activated Tuesday when the fires began. Hawaii's Attorney General saying there will be a review of critical decision-making and standing policies before, during, and after the wildfires. Help is so greatly needed for all of the western Maui communities that were devastated by these wildfires. FEMA is now providing federal assistance. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Maui.
Here's your viewer poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, have you donated to any organizations to help those affected by the Maui wildfires? Yes or no? According to these results tonight, 10% say yes and 90% say no. Thank you for voting tonight. Visit us tomorrow for our latest viewer poll. Now, during a hearing today in New York, the judge revoked FTX founder Bankman-Fried's bail over alleged witness tampering and denied his request for delayed detention pending an appeal. A federal judge issued the order today saying there was probable cause that Bankman-Fried tried to tamper with 2 key witnesses against him and maybe others. Bankman-Fried is living with his parents to comply with a $250 million bail package severely restricting his internet and phone usage.
Last month, the Indian government announced an abrupt ban on exporting non-basmati white rice, sending some U.S. shoppers into panic buying mode. On July 20th, India's government announced it would stop exporting non-basmati white rice, effective immediately. The move was designed to help lower rice prices and secure availability in India. What caused this problem? Well, experts say prices started rising last year because of the devastating floods in Pakistan, which tightened global supply.
Well, good evening, everyone. I wanted to comment a little bit on the Maui thing. The winds over the mountains were blowing at 60 miles an hour. That knocked over the power lines. They started sparking. And if you've ever been in a forest fire or a wildfire, embers start to fly. And all those embers were raining down over the little city of Lahaina. That's why it went down so fast to the coast. Pretty tragic situation. I've been there. It's just amazing. In just a moment, it's gone. We are looking at forecast highs tomorrow, and you know what? We're in high fire danger for the next couple of days. We'll be talking about that coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everyone. Yes, the weekend is here. That's good. We had wall-to-wall sunshine today, and that's pretty much the rule for the weekend. Next week, we have a glimmer of hope. As you can see around the state, generally sunny skies and very hot weather. Last night, we talked about it. There was right here in Mineral Wells, a big thunderstorm just popped, created all kinds of problems, and was gone within 2 hours. So that's kind of what's happening up here. Late in the afternoon, they pop, but generally they're up in Oklahoma today. I mean, everybody in Texas. Now, here's the concern. As long as we're under the bubble, we're not getting any kind of precipitation. We saw those pop-up thunderstorms that are working even as they wish. Now, over the next couple of days, we start seeing this easterly wave cross from the Yucatan over the Gulf and probably into western Mexico, or rather eastern Mexico. Not much of a chance for us, but as we wear on into Monday, Tuesday, the dome is actually expected to move back a little bit, and that's why I think two things are going to happen. We've got enough Gulf moisture to allow one or two little isolated showers around our area, and I'm talking just the immediate coastline. North Texas, on this side of the system, is going to get a dry north wind. So already we're at 100 degrees, already we're dry, and now we've got a super dry wind coming in. We're going to be in a high fire situation there for much of the state for the next week. Now, here we are. We're not in it ourselves, but folks, just because we don't have an alert doesn't mean we can't get a wildfire. And the big thing is that if you have a family or interests up north, you can see how most of the state will be in a high fire danger. Today along the toll road 130, we had 3 separate wildfires. And so, you know, it goes to logic that we're going to have to watch it very carefully. The Hurricane Center this week put out a new advisory. They updated their forecast. So now they're going for a much higher number, 14 to 21 named storms as opposed to 12, which they had earlier. And they're confident 60% that it will happen. Problem is, here we are late August, mid-August, going into mid-September. This is the next 30 days. All of these have to happen in 30 days because by the end of into October, it's not going to happen. So it's going to be an interesting situation. For those of you having time to get down there and do a little fishing, tomorrow's good. For those of you in Port Lavaca or Port O'Connor, this is Port O'Connor actually, there's your high tide at 5 in the morning, your low tide at 6 in the evening. It should be a little gusty in the afternoon hours, but I know many of you are going early. Seas are now up at 4 to 5 feet because of that gusty wind, occasionally choppy bays. Sunrise at 6:55 a.m. tomorrow. Or your day planner for all of you in Port Lavaca, looking at 84, getting up to 96 in the afternoon. Wall-to-wall sunshine for the next 3 days. For Cuero, we're looking for a high of 103. Gonzales, I know you're going to be looking at 105 or something like that. So we stay in the triple digits. Now here's where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have a whopping 20% that we might get an isolated little shower, and wouldn't that be nice? Other than that, have a great weekend, all right? That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we have a QR code that we'd love for you to scan and put that on your phone and take us wherever you need to go for Crossroads today. And now it's time for Gino.
Thanks, Mac. A Victoria native is back on the gridiron in the brightest of lights. We see how the Patriots, and the Texans did after the break. At a Crossroads, an area running back from down south is a 5-star running back who has already committed to a Power 5 school and being named to the preseason Small Town All-Americans list. A high school sports source named Max Preps is highlighting the top athletes in America with schools that have less than 1,000 students enrolled and a population of under 10,000 in the town. 5 Texans made the list, including Tidehaven running back Joseph Dodds. The Baylor commit rushed for over 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns. The Tigers have high aspirations this season and tough matchups like their scrimmage tonight against the Shiner Comanches.
Put in more work. I mean, it's been a while since we've been past the 4th round, so we're out here busting our tails right now, trying to get ready for the scrimmage. Oh, it's really good. Like, scrimmaging good teams here now, get you ready.
Dodds was named to the Class 3A All-State Honorable Mention team. The senior hopes to lead his team past the regional finals, which they were eventually knocked out of last year. Tidehaven will play the Goliad Tigers in Week 1. A former Victoria East Titan is looking forward to build on his performance from last night. The Houston Texans' second pick in the 2023 NFL Draft got off to a slow start as C.J. Stroud, the quarterback, threw an interception early on. He went 2 for 4 and only had 13 yards in his performance. Meanwhile, Victoria native Bailey Zappi had this spectacular throw down the sideline, which was brought in by Tyquan Thornton, which was his biggest play of the night, which helped set up a field goal. The Texans were the first to score a touchdown when its 69th pick, Tank Dell, makes this acrobatic catch and stays in bounds to put 6 points on the board and leads to a Texans 20-9 point win. The Texans are taking on the Miami Dolphins next week, and the New England Patriots are taking on the Green Bay Packers, where Zappi had his first action in the NFL before losing to Aaron Rodgers in overtime. The Basketball World Cup is less than a month away, and the United States have a warm-up game against an NBA star that plays here in Texas. The American team is made up of a big young stars like Minnesota Timberwolves guard Anthony Edwards, Orlando Magic forward Paolo Banchero, and New Orleans Pelicans forward Brandon Ingram. They will join their talents to take the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic in Slovenia. That game is going to happen in Spain starting at 2:30. And Saturday, the Cowboys take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mickey Spagnola gives us some things to watch.
For Friday's Cowboys Daily, here's a few things to keep an eye on Saturday, with the Cowboys opening the preseason schedule against Jacksonville. First, how does rookie kicker Brandon Aubrey handle kicking in his first NFL competition? Then, with mostly backups playing in the game, how do some of the rookies perform? And then the young running backs behind Tony Pollard, how do they handle the competition, especially Deuce Vaughn?
You could go and cut it loose. You know, in practice is your first 2 weeks of training camp. You're still trying to figure out exactly how to practice as a professional compared to college and just learning from the vets. But now, I mean, football is football. You go out there, 11 guys on the football field on your side of the ball going against another 11 guys, and it's football. Go out there and play and cut it loose.
And you can catch the game on these stations starting at 3 o'clock with the pregame show.
Well, that's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gino. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. We'll take a last look at your weather with Mac. Plus, a pregnant woman walked from a Pink concert to a hospital to give birth.
Full-time UPS drivers will soon earn an average of $170,000 a year in a new 5-year contract agreement. The $170,000 includes both pay and benefits for full-time drivers. It also includes changes to working conditions, including air conditioning and UPS vehicles. A 150-year-old banyan tree, which sits in the heart of Hawaii, was not spared by the devastating wildfires. The historic tree is badly charred, but still stands after being engulfed in flames. The banyan tree was a small sapling when it was planted in 1873 as a gift from India. terrible situation there in Maui. And I worry about fires around here because things are so dry.
We have to be very cautious next week, this weekend, and all into next week because of that dry air coming in. But so, you know, what do? We're ready Rangers. We see something, we call it in immediately, and y'all need to cooperate. 100-1 for tomorrow, and with a little cooperation, we'll make it through this weekend and this summer, which goes down in the record books.
Alrighty, Mac, thank you. A woman from New York traveled to Boston to see Pink in concert, but at just 31 weeks, she realized she was in labor. The woman dressed for the show discovered there was too much traffic to get a ride, so she actually walked to the hospital. Now, Pink's newest and youngest fan is named Asen Hart, born on his grandmother's birthday.
When the woman went into the hospital, she said, "Get the party started."
Get the party started.
And you know, they asked, "Did you know you were in labor?" She said, "Who knew?"
I mean, at 34 weeks going to a concert, can you imagine?
That's pretty brave. I mean, they
bold.
wouldn't let her fly, right?
It's pretty
But
bold.
she's going to a Pink concert.
Yeah, and she said, I left a Pink concert, and she said, "So what?"
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Don, and thank you, Mac, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Adam Seibel for 25 News Now Weekend. Good night and have a great weekend.